goal is to bring you your next favorite band.
Thanks for having us. This is a very cool show.
Yeah, so through many iterations, and we finally landed on the weirdest one by far.
Yeah, simple feelings, and boom, you got a sound.
I remember this one time, I had been writing some songs, and I went out. I'm just going right in on this story. I went out, and so I was.
The story's longer than the song itself. We'll go ahead and play it.
And listen, it's going to be everybody's favorite band. Welcome to your next favorite band. That's both the show title and our promise to you. We here at Stereophilia Studio are tireless in our pursuit of finding incredible, genre-defiant artists who are either a hot up-and-coming band or a group that has been delivering for years but have flown under the radar. Today, live from the courtyard of the Sun Inn, the No Planet B Jamboree. Woo! Each month, we will bring you live streams, audio podcasts, and perhaps even a live concert where you can listen to the stories and hear the music of artists personally curated by us based on what we feel will be worthy of your time. Be sure to subscribe and tune in to each episode because the possibilities are endless and you never know who will be your next favorite band. Hello, everybody. I am your host, Philip Reese.
Hello, I am David Moore. I'm the co-host.
And this is
your next favorite band.
And the No Planet B Jamboree. Thank you very much for tuning in. We just had, the idea to kind of do something a little special.
Something that celebrates Mother Nature. We're outdoors for this.
Mother Earth.
Yeah.
Mother Earth took care of us, too. We were fearing rainstorms all week, and Sunday opened up, so the universe is on our side.
Yeah, so far so good.
I did a lot of deep meditative prayer, and so here's how we ended up.
Whatever gets the job done, you know?
Yeah, and a donation. I just think that there's a lot of connection here. There's a lot of artists we've interviewed that are passionate about the environment.
Correct.
And me personally, and I wanted to kind of give us both a moment here, it just has been something I've been, kind of passionate about since an early age, been, studying, obviously all the science and the effects of things, and just kind of wanted to highlight that. Obviously, since this is a music podcast, it's going to be centered around organizations within the music industry that are doing green and environmental things.
Correct.
As well as artists who have music about that. So that was where we focused. But interspersed in here will be wherever we can, a little bit more of that act locally type thing. So some of it specific to Bethlehem, because that's where we are. But some of it also, just in general, some tips and things to consider doing so that each person can do their part.
Yeah, just to be a little bit more mindful sometimes goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. And how about you? I know, we've had lots of deep conversations. I don't think any particular about global warming or climate change or anything like that, but I know it's also a passion for you as well.
Sure, of course.
We like this planet. We want to keep it.
Yeah, well, as the name implies, there's no Planet B.
Right.
So this is the one we've got. We should take care of what we have. My parents always taught me that, right?
That's right.
You take care of the things we have. I try and live in a way that's a little bit more environmental between the cars that my wife and I drive, the choices we make with food that we buy, and the way I go around. Like, one of the nice parts about living where we live is we can walk here.
Sure.
As an example.
Yeah. And then how about, another option here is where you get your power supply. And so that was something that I was involved in when I first bought my house here in Bethlehem in 2019. I took the time to kind of research where you could get your power supply that might be a little bit more renewable. And I came across this organization that is I think, unique and special in what they do. And so when we were developing this episode, I did reach out to them, and they were on board. So they actually are kind of like primary sponsor of today. They're called the Energy Co-op. I wanted to just share a little bit of their kind of summary. The Energy Co-op's mission is to be the leader of today's sustainable energy evolution. They're a nonprofit cooperative that enables the members to buy energy as responsibly and affordably as possible, and that's something I'm going to dive into a little bit later. It assists members in the use of energy sensibly and efficiently, and it educates members in the community about energy. They've been around since 1979.
Wow,
How about
that's
that?
not bad.
Yeah, been around since '79, and they will continue to meet their members' needs by seeking and supporting novel solutions to energy challenges. Because here's something: in 2015, they became the first supplier of renewable natural gas in the area.
Cool.
Exactly. So they supply both, I shouldn't say both, three things: clean energy, electricity, clean renewable natural gas, and then also home heating oil, all in a renewable format. So those are options for you to sign up for. They're not like every other supplier. When you switch to the Energy Co-op, you become a co-op member. So this is something where you have a say, you have a right to know, and you get to vote on things, on how they source their energy and how they run their organization. To most the energy companies, this degree of transparency would be revolutionary, but to them, it's just how they do business.
Impressive.
Right, I agree. So that's something I encourage you to do. It's a Pennsylvania supplier. But the majority of where their footprint is Philadelphia and surroundings. So actually Lehigh Valley is a ripe area for them to get more members. But when I spoke to them, they really could do almost the entire eastern half of the state. They said all the way out to like Lock Haven, and then up in like the full state, north and south. So if you're listening and interested and in Pennsylvania, check out the Energy Co-op. And if you're not in Pennsylvania or farther west, just search up, whatever energy supplier that might provide fully renewable, whether it's wind or solar or a combination, and then seek out how to switch to them from your energy supplier.
That sounds like a great idea.
It certainly does. So staying global, our next guest is from the organization reverb.org, doing amazing things in the music industry to help, reduce the footprint of a tour, of a festival, and then having the ability to set up and inform the people attending that festival to know what they can do locally again.
Correct.
So we met with Paige Roth. She is wonderful. She's based in Portland, Maine, which is also where Reverb is based. But we get into her backstory, and we talk about the organization and again the different things that they do. So please enjoy our interview with Paige Roth, reverb.org. So there you have the video from reverb.org declaring a music climate revolution. And we have with us today manager of the volunteer and community activities, Paige Roth. Welcome to the show, Paige.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. Happy almost Earth Day.
Yes, that's right. Let's just call it Earth Month. This way we can celebrate it and care for it. Well, I guess we should do it all year long, but let's not make it just about one day. Let's at least make it a month here. But we are honored to have you on, and can't wait to hear more about yourself and the organization, and maybe not only what it's doing, but what can we do. So let's start with you. Let's hear a little bit more about yourself and what brought you to Reverb once upon a time.
Yes, always happy to talk about myself. I'm Paige. I'm the manager of volunteer and community programs for Reverb. I'm coming to you from Portland, Maine, which is where Reverb is headquartered. I'm a Mainer myself, having lived in a number of other places. I went to school down in Florida and bopped around Massachusetts for a while before coming back to Portland and beginning my work at Reverb, where I've been for about 10 years now, after many years working in the nonprofit sector and doing events, but was so excited to discover Reverb, where sustainability and music events come together.
That is so cool. That is so cool. And, you know, I was very impressed with anything I had read about Reverb as I was just kind of doing research about, always kind of had an affinity or a passion for Earth Day and just being more conscious about all of that. And then now that I had a platform, I was just like, hey, let's explore doing this. And I had run into, obviously, musicians and artists that were passionate about it, and I started asking to use some of their songs, as you've been hearing throughout the day today. But also then I was like, well, let's see who's out there doing good things in the industry for this, and very quickly came across reverb.org. And so tell us, I'm going to bring up your site, and if you don't mind, start talking through just some of the different missions and activities that you all have, and let's learn a little bit about what you guys are providing.
Absolutely. So reverb.org.
Yep, and here is the site.
Oh, perfect. Yes, here we go. Reverb.org. We're an environmental nonprofit based in Portland, Maine. Although we do work nationally and really internationally all over the world, partnering with, international now.
You were just weren't you part of this here where it was in New Zealand or something?
Yes, we just wrapped up a Lord tour of New Zealand. We're about to kick off Paramore in the UK on Thursday, actually.
Fantastic. And so when you're connected with an artist, what is that you're providing for them and for the places they perform?
Right. So we will partner with a major music tour or a festival or even a venue and really look at what they're doing and find ways that we can reduce the impact of the tour or the event on the environment. So that is what we call backstage greening, and that can entail anything from sourcing local food for a band's caterer to providing, reusables or biofuels, all of these things. And then we also create environmental and social cause action and education campaigns for what we call our Action Village, which is where we bring these projects to life at an actual concert and have tents and tables set up, talking about the work that we're doing and highlighting causes and other environmental nonprofits, and have volunteers come out and help us. And then everyone gets to stay for the concert, which is a great benefit.
Yeah, that's a really good point, too, because towards the end, we're definitely going to talk about, obviously, monetary donations. But getting people to donate their time is just as important as if I have that right.
Exactly. Yeah. Our work in our Action Village is really powered by fan volunteers. Last year, we worked with 10,000 fan volunteers, again, across the world. And we really can't make this happen without these people, because Reverb is a very small nonprofit. There's only 10 of us full time in Portland, Maine. So we can't cover that ground without, these great music fans coming out and putting in the work.
Yeah, that is very cool. And any of those particular programs you'd want to dive in further on the site here that you want me to navigate to something?
Absolutely. Yeah. If you want to check out our work, there's a great page there that highlights, and then tours and artists, that highlights all of the different musicians that we've worked with.
Sure.
Reverb's been around for almost 20 years. So when we were, it's a great little piece. When we were founded in 2004 by Adam Gardner, who's the guitarist for a band called Guster.
Right? Yeah. I had a friend of mine who actually, he's a program director for a nonprofit radio station in Rochester, New York. It's WBER. His name is Joey Giusto, and he reached out when he saw the poster for this event that come out. He was like, Reverb is Guster, and Guster's my boys. And I was like, okay,
absolutely.
Now you got to tune in. So yeah, here they are.
All in the Northeastern family for sure.
That's right.
So yeah, we were founded by Adam from Guster and his wife, Lauren Sullivan, who's an environmentalist in her own right. Sort of bridging these two worlds between environmentalism and nonprofit work, and the music industry, like really looking at the way that Adam was living out on the tour with his band, and all the things we see, the single-use plastic, all the trash, the bad food, trucks and buses burning fossil fuel,
Right.
and try to green that up. And so when we first started out, we were partnering with bands that Guster had relationships with. So Bare Naked Ladies, John Mayer, Dave Matthews Band, Jack Johnson.
And then people like Dave Matthews and Adam Levine, these are people who are on the board as well. So they're not just participating, they're even really putting their time in.
They are, they're on our advisory board. So they, they are involved in all of our campaigns, like the Music Climate Revolution that we saw the video for, and are really making commitments to reduce the impact of their tours on the environment and, really walk, which is important to us.
Yeah, we always talk about, like, every time you hear something, if you look into this stuff, it's like we all have to do our part. And so we don't want to then say, okay, well, you can't, do a festival. You just have to figure out a way to do it where it's a lot more just, sensitive to, the needs of waste and renewables and, on all that good stuff. So
that's exactly it. We always say, we try to meet people where they are, and we're not trying to stop concerts or festivals. No one wants that. It's all about finding ways to work through these problems.
And speaking to that here, I've pulled up the fans section here. Is there anything that you would recommend we as music lovers and festival goers do? Like, what can we do to be, better? Yes,
that's where all the power is, right? The fans, the people buying the concert tickets, buying the albums, streaming the music. So a lot of it's about infrastructure. And when you are purchasing tickets and communicating with your local venue or the festivals that you're interested in, it's so important to express to them just certain things that we can change, like rules about bringing in reusable water bottles, allowing fans to bring in an empty reusable container. Does go so far as reducing the amount of single-use plastic that's used.
Yeah,
or asking venues.
So I was going to say on that point, our festival here, Music Fest, is known for its mug, and since its 40th year this year, and ever since the beginning, they've had a Music Fest mug with a new design every year and something that people call it. And it's this cool thing, and it's been something that just hit me as I was researching this, just how much waste over the 40 years that has reduced because of the reusable mug.
Yes, they're way ahead of the game. That's genius. We love to hear that. And do they have water stations where people can refill the mugs just to stay hydrated? Perfect.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and then they use a local artist to design the outside of it every year. It's just a very cool thing. So it's definitely one of the little nuances that people always look forward to. In addition to the music, is what's the mug going to look like this year, and then where am I going to go fill it?
It's a great merch item.
It is.
It's both. It's something to take home with you, but it's also something that contributes to sustainability.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's take a moment here to pretend that the No Planet B Jamboree is going to become one of the largest Earth Day festivals on the East Coast. And then over the time that we continue to maybe try to expand this, what are some things that maybe I could factor in as a kind of like a planner of a festival?
Absolutely. So we have great resources, and it's all about, especially with a festival where you're building a lot of your own infrastructure and making those choices, right? Instead of coming to an arena that already exists, you can look at so many things. So water stations are huge, as we've already talked about, and reusables, as well as talking to your vendors and your concessions about hopefully, having vegetarian and vegan options available as far as concessions, looking at the way concessions are serving items and making sure that the utensils and things that they're using are compostable. So that gets into talking with your waste management services about making sure there's commercial composting available, and at the very least, recycling. So looking at your waste streams, making sure things are sorted responsibly. There's a great, so many ways to bring in volunteers who we suggest something called trash talkers, where people will actually stand at receptacles and help point things in the right direction.
Absolutely.
We have a new campaign coming up called the Music Decarbonization Project.
I did see something about that.
Yes, so we just launched that a couple of weeks ago at South by Southwest at Willie Nelson's Luck Reunion, which is like a festival that Willie Nelson has at his ranch in Texas.
Nice.
And we partnered with an organization or a company called Overdrive to bring in actual solar panels and create a solar array and
Wow.
powered the stages, yes, for the festival and a lot of the concessions through solar power.
How
So
about that?
instead of using generators that are burning, diesel and fossil
Yeah,
fuels.
really bad. Yeah.
But again, so yeah, it's really all about looking at your infrastructure, especially for a festival, and tweaking each piece of it to find out ways to either divert waste, or with our music decarbonization project, like stop the carbon from being emitted in the first place.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, just it's such an impressive organization. And one thing I always ask that, if you're tuning in right now or catching one of the recordings, we do these shows for free. It's just something we love doing. But the only thing I ask is a moment in these times here is like, if it's worth something to you, if there's a dollar amount you can associate to what the show might bring you as far as entertainment, maybe if you don't mind, consider donating that today to Reverb. Is like the donate button is very clearly marked on their website. If you don't mind, maybe taking a moment to pull that up and make a donation to Reverb and let's say keep it on the end. Let's also do Music Declares Emergency. Let's support both these organizations because they're doing very important work. Anything to promote? Anything to kind of tout what's coming up for the summer? Obviously, festival season's upon us. So,
yes.
What can we look for in 2023 here?
Yeah, so you've caught me at a great time. Reverb is coming out of our, spring and winter projects and into a big summer launch. So you're about to see volunteer applications go live for many of our big summer tours. We've got Dave Matthews Band and Dead and Company live right now, as well as the California Roots Festival. And we're looking at just a packed summer season. So I always say to follow our social media. We post all of our opportunities there. And if a tour that you're interested in is coming to town, we'd love to have you apply.
That'd be amazing.
And support us. Yeah, we're going to be busier than ever.
Well, excellent. Paige Roth, Manager of Community and Volunteer Programs. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, and happy Earth Day, happy Earth Month again.
There we go. Absolutely. Thanks, Paige. Wonderful convo there with Paige Roth.
Yeah, it was great that she could spend some time with us.
Absolutely.
And by us, I mean you.
Well, some of these obviously these organizations are doing a lot of things with very few people.
Yeah, and there may be time zones into play. Now, in this case, there's not, but we'll touch on that later.
Later on, we have a massive time zone difference. But wanted to bring in another quick article here because it kind of ties in with some of the stuff we were talking about there. This was a recent New York Times article about can flashy music festivals go green. So again, we'll share this out there, but it talks about some of the different ones that are really trying to make that stuff happen and what they're doing. But Deep Tropics was one that basically the managers of the festival almost demanded, like there was going to be no single-use plastic, there was no trash cans. Everything either had to be consumed or recyclable.
Or pack in, pack out type festival like you do on the really best trails.
Yeah, which this is them. And then it did talk about other festivals. I think Burning Man is on a 10-year plan to get carbon neutral and stuff. So the different festivals are trying to do their part to do it, and it's because of organizations like Reverb. And later on, we're going to talk about Music Declares Emergency.
I think that's fantastic. They have a responsibility when they bring in a large number of people with a large amount of equipment to be in one space like that it has an impact, and how to deal with that.
Yes. So let me stop sharing that because people can go check that out some other time. But I was thrown off because the next music started playing ahead of time.
It's a preview, if you will.
Correct, yeah. Get ready for it, because here comes Blair Crimmins.
Wait, has he been on the show before, Phil?
Yes, he has. Yes, actually, and was actually, we've talked about this before, but interview number 1 for me. Not on, so Your Next Favorite Band was preceded by about 8 months that I was a co-host on George Wacker's Lehigh Valley with Love podcast, and our very first music guest ever was Blair Crimmins.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And then you talk to him again at Music Fest.
Yep.
With his
with all the hookers.
Right. And then you also have a personal story of his involvement.
Well, yeah, he did play at our wedding, which if anybody needs a wedding band, there's nothing better than having hookers at your wedding.
I have to talk to my wife about that one.
Anyway, so very special music he's going to be sharing with us today. It's actually made for children to make sure they get the messaging, but obviously when Blair Crimmins is writing music, it's made for everybody.
Just quality.
And he has a alter ego, if you will, called Captain Crimmins and the Storyboat Band. So here's the intro music to his show, and we're going to bring Blair on live.
Come on with me, join and we'll sing. Tap your feet or clap your hands. Drum up some noise with whatever your choice, a mop bucket or pots and pans. Cause we all play a part and we're about to embark on a musical fantasy. So come on along and start singing our song and go see R-I-M-M-I-N-S Captain Crimmins. Welcome to the storyboat. We all live here on the Tall Tale River and we're trying to stay afloat. I'm searching along for stories and songs with my crew and all of my friends. We drift downstream while we play and sing in the storyboard band.
Welcome to the show, Captain Crimmins.
Hello.
And you are full. And we got Rick with us, don't we?
Rickles is here. Yeah, Banjo can't make it today, but Rick is going to hang out with us.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Blair.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and we are so excited to share the music you got not yet released. So also we're kind of getting a you heard it here first moment.
You definitely are. Yeah, it comes out this Earth Day. That's Saturday.
This coming Saturday, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe give us a little back. Actually, first let's, in case there's somebody who hasn't heard of Blair Crimmins and the Hookers, why don't you give us a quick little rundown of yourself?
Blair Crimmins and the Hookers is a 7-piece ragtime-inspired sort of Dixieland, New Orleans-style jazz band that plays a little louder than anything you would typically call traditional, almost with a kind of a rock and roll delivery.
Sure.
Of a classic jazz style. We got the 3-piece horn section with the trombone, trumpet, and sax, clarinet, upright bass, some stride piano in there, and I switch between guitar and 4-string tenor banjo, which is like the traditional banjo instrument of the 20s and 30s.
Yeah, and weighs like
full drum set.
100 pounds.
And weighs 100 pounds and is 100 years old. But we've been doing that. We've been doing that for 12 years or so, and toured around, toured the country, have been overseas, and put out 3 albums of original music, a cover album, a couple EPs, and a live album. And at some point, the creative energy shifted to doing some music that was specifically for kids, and we put out the first Captain Crimmins and the Storyboat Band album, which was called All Aboard, and that came out, I think, 2019, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah. And then, Captain, we put out some episodes. We did some, as you showed in the clip there. We put together a kids show, like it's a pretty short little 3-minute webisodes that we did, and we're trying to keep going with that and maybe get some help and support for developing that into a real program.
Yeah, and so your YouTube channel has like 2 or 3 episodes.
3 episodes up there. Yeah.
And that was super fun. That's where some of those the clips came from there, and it's fun. I mean, kids stuff is important to kind of introduce them to some important topics like this, and the first one around kind of got into some important stuff, and then you got approached by Soulshine Schools, right, to come up with this second one, and very much around environmentalism.
That's right. The first album, I talked about some moral issues but it was fly traps on there and what it's like to be different when you're the only plant that eats meat, things like that fun stuff. And then when Soulshine came and kind of revived the Captain Crimmins project after a couple years of sleeping through COVID, they this after school program and daycare is centered on what they call permaculture, which is an ideology or a way of life to be more sustainable, to not just be a consumer, and to live a more sustainable life within your surroundings. Gardening, composting, no single-use plastics, a lot of stuff that you guys have been talking about today. So they wanted to have some music that was, I guess, proprietary to their curriculum. And I have a friend that is the president of the school, and she, of course, she said that I was the first one that came to mind, and so I started writing these songs. Yeah, so I started writing these songs that are very conservation focused, environmentally focused. There's a song for each season, and then a bunch of other songs about sustainability, and then a wild card in there about learning Spanish, because the school does teach kids some words in Spanish.
Yeah. Well, we're going to need that one because later on Eljuri's coming on, so I'm going to need to listen to that one during the break.
Study up.
But for now, let's get to one of those seasonal ones. And since it's springtime here and it's the first track off of the new album, tell us a little bit while I bring it up here about springtime.
Yeah, the first song, in my mind, the first season of the year, in springtime, just is the way for this album to kick off and wake everybody up for what's about to come.
Awesome. So here is Springtime by Captain Crimmins and the Storyboat Band.
It's happening again. The winter time is over and the spring will begin. Well, it seems like forever, it was only a year since the snow has started melting and the flowers appeared. The bees are all a-buzzing and beginning to work. The birds are all a-fussing and beginning to chirp. It's a symphony of singing, it's a natural delight when the spring starts springing to life. What happens first? The sun gives us more of its rays, and gradually it even starts to lengthen the days. Everything will start blooming in the old flower beds, and the bears in hibernation wake the big sleepy heads. What happens next? It starts to warm up the ground when the trees start turning green when before they were brown. When you watch it all changing, it's a beautiful show. Could be quite surprising when it happens next. You're gonna know it's starting, it's happening again. The winter time is over and the spring will begin. Well, it seems like forever, it was only a year since the snow has started melting and the flowers appeared. All the bees have started buzzing, beginning their work, and the birds are all a-fussing and beginning to chirp. There's a symphony of singing, it's a natural delight when the spring starts springing to life. What can I do? Give Mother Nature a hand. It's the perfect time to plant some brand new seeds in the land. You may even start to notice there's new food in the stores, cause the farms grow fruits and veggies that they couldn't before. How can I help? Leave all those insects alone. Instead of squishing them or swatting them, just find them a home. Build a habitat and just like that you help them along to pollinate and procreate, so next year we can sing the song. It's starting, it's happening again. Wintertime is over and the spring will begin. It seems like forever, it was only a year since the snow has started melting and the flowers appeared. The bees all started buzzing and beginning their work. The birds are all a-fussing and beginning to chirp. There's a symphony of singing, it's a natural delight when the spring starts springing to life.
There's Springtime by Captain Crimmins.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
So what was funny was
exciting.
You were singing along, and that was coming through. which I love.
That was the mic was on.
Which just shows how no, it's wonderful. And the other song we wanted to, there you go. Yeah, it was a good echo. The other song I wanted to feature here was "Belly of a Whale" because I think that's very specific and important for today's kind of messaging, where it's a lot about sustainability.
Yeah.
So anything else behind this one, or?
This one was the first one I wrote, and I started writing it before Soulshine got a hold of me, before they called me, and I stopped writing and I kind of quit in the middle of it because I wasn't really sure where I was going to be going with this story about being in the belly of a whale. My wife kind of gave me the assignment. She said that when she was a little girl, she wrote the story about being in the belly of a whale, and that I should write a song about that. And I went to it, and then I just kind of shelved it for a little bit. And when Soulshine brought me the assignment for writing songs about conservation, I was like, okay, well, I'm in the belly of a whale, and I'm going to use everything that's in there and create my little ecosystem of my own in the belly of a whale.
Well, here it is. Let's take a listen.
Mm-hmm. I'm living in the belly of a whale, not sure how I got here. How long it's been, I really can't tell, but I got all I need right here. Swim up over the jaws and take the throat straight down. If you get to the tail, then you miss me. Turn around, and I'm right here in the belly of a whale, and I don't think I'm gonna leave. Well, it took a little time, but I made it all mine, and now I'm feeling right here at home. I built a clamshell kitchen, I could cook up all my fishing, and a seaweed bed where I can lay my head. I got a big sofa stuffed full of pelican blood, so if you ever wanna stop on by, it might smell a bit funny in a big whale's tummy, but soon you're gonna understand why. I'm living in the belly of a whale, not sure how I got here. How long it's been, I really can't tell, but I got all I need right here. Swim up over the jaws and take the throat straight down. When you get to the tail, well, then you missed me. Turn around, I'm right here in the belly of a whale. I don't think I wanna leave. We go up, we go down. I play my fishbone piano sitting on an empty can, floating all around. I use every little thing that could wash in between this big whale lips and down to me. I built a little home ecosystem of my own in a whale belly under the sea. I'm living in the belly of a whale, not sure how I got here. Well, how long it's been, I really can't tell, but I got all I need right here. Come swim over the jaws and take the throat straight down. When you get to the tail, then you miss me. Turn around, I'm right here in the belly of a whale, and I don't think I'm gonna leave. Well, people, come on, start singing along. With a little imagination, we can quit wasting. Because the world is what you make it. Make sure that you don't take it all and throw it in a garbage can. Find another thing to do with it, fix or reuse it, so you never need another again. And I do all I can. I'm living in the belly of a whale. I'm living in the belly of a whale. Well, I'm living in the belly of a whale. I'm living in the belly of a whale.
And there we have Belly of the Whale, Captain Crimmins and the Storyboat Band. You're getting a standing ovation right now. We have some live audience here in front of us. And they seem to be loving it. That song crushes. I really hope you play it at Music Fest, because there's no reason why that's just kids' music.
Yeah, I know. We kind of thought that ourselves too. We're really throwing everything at. I think we were supposed to dumb something down, but nope. We just went for it.
No, not at all. Yeah, that and Summertime, I think, is also something people would listen to. And there's other tracks, too, about being in the bayou and stuff like that. Like, it's
Yeah.
if you have kids, it is great for them. And if you just want to love Blair Crimmins as an adult, even listening to his children's music, have no shame, because we're both over here rocking out to it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. So we will include links to the Soulshine School so that people can learn a little bit more about them. And then after your music comes out, then we can kind of promote where people can go access it.
That sounds great. Appreciate it. Thanks so
Blair,
much, guys.
as always, a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much.
Talking with you.
Absolutely.
Take care, Blair.
See you.
Excellent. Captain Crimmins.
He's always excellent.
Yes. He's one of the best. So yeah, I love that he is producing music that is accessible to kids. Let's say it that way, because it isn't kids' music.
Well, he used the phrase "dumbed down," but that's not what's happening.
Not at all.
That's not what's happening.
Not at all.
Just the topics that he's covering are focused on that, but there's nothing about the music or the lyrical content that is anything less.
Yeah, absolutely. So can't wait for that music to come out, for everybody to listen to it. We'll continue to tag it, link to it, promote it, and so on. But pivoting here to Music Declares Emergency, our other global organization. So we talked local, now we're going to talk global. They are actually a UK-based organization. And here's the 16-hour time difference between me and the person we interviewed, who was based in New Zealand, which also came up earlier. I think this company this organization is fantastic. Same kind of thing. Doing a lot with very few people, and so that was why Ellie, who is part of their working group, and basically you'll hear her talk about, she's on sabbatical off in New Zealand, but still agreed to come on because she's so passionate about it. This is a shirt from Music Declares Emergency. They have a hashtag, No Music on a Dead Planet. A lot of cool designs in there, very sustainably sourced shirts and packaging for the shipping and so on. You have a cool shirt on today too, Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah, we should have mentioned that when Blair was on.
That's true.
Because it would have gone better with the Captain Crimmins side of things, but
Well, it just goes good with the day.
Oh, it's spot on.
So here is our interview with Ellie Wyatt and Music Declares Emergency. There you have the video of Music Declares Emergency, a global organization dedicated to declaring the emergency that we're in. And we are honored today to have a representative from their working group, Ellie Wyatt. Welcome to the show, Ellie. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
And all the way from New Zealand, right?
Yeah, I'm British and I normally live in England, but we're having a sabbatical 18 months in New Zealand at the moment. So yeah.
And so I think, your resume is extensive and would love to get to that in a second. But maybe if you don't mind, share a little bit of like some of the different things that it gets involved in. Now, again, this is much more of a European-based focus, but obviously being a global issue, it's something we wanted to raise awareness on.
Yeah, so, Music Declares Emergency kind of formed around 2018, 2019 off the back of the Extinction Rebellion protests in Britain. And we realised that we needed to take action within our own industry as well as activists. And so Music Declares has become focused on how to bring action and awareness into the music industry. And since then, over the last 3-4 years, we've done some really incredible projects. We've had thousands and thousands of artists, bands, managers, venues, orchestras, you name it, signing up for our declaration, which is declaring that we need government action on the climate and ecological emergency.
Absolutely.
And
While you're chatting, I'm actually going to bring up the site here because it'll kind of correlate with what you're chatting about.
Yeah. And we really believe it's kind of two things. One is that everybody needs to take action within their workplace and their profession and bring their profession on board with what needs to be happening.
Sure.
All industries and all professions need to be thinking about this in everything they do. But also, as musicians and representing the music industry, we really believe that we have like a massive cultural impact, and music and musicians have the power to really kind of reach people's hearts in a different way that maybe science and statistics might not, and that we can connect audiences and we can connect music fans, and we can really kind of like energize that need for change amongst a huge audience of music lovers around the world.
Sure.
Now this year we're focusing on several different things. One is a fan club for climate, so it's like activating music fans at festivals.
Sure.
We've worked with Reverb, and last year we had stalls at all of the Billie Eilish shows in London so that we could talk to the fans directly. And then that led on to doing the same at festivals throughout the summer, where we have a Music Declares information stall. People get these No Music on a Dead Planet removable tattoos. It just gets the conversation going. It starts people thinking about it, and it's really about what fans can do and giving them straightforward, simple actions that everybody can take to play a part and make some difference. Like, for example, changing your bank account and not banking with a bank that funds fossil fuels.
Yeah, I think that's like a lot of people just don't have the information. I mean, like, awareness is such a huge thing, and that's why we wanted to kind of dedicate an episode to all of this and bring on people from organizations like this, because sometimes that's all you need is that I want to do the right thing, I just don't know how or where or what to do. So like stuff like that is great and super helpful.
Absolutely. I mean, there are some really powerful actions that individuals can do, and the Fan Club for Climate is all about that, just kind of educating and raising awareness of things that and places where people need to put their focus and their pressure, like banking is a huge example.
Sure.
Eating plant-based is another huge example.
Yep. So when in the area of take action, you can see there the artists, the industry, and then music lovers. So for those of you who are tuning in just as fans of the show, you click on here and it gives you, again, like we talked about before, these are some of the ideas that you can take as a music lover to try and encourage not only the music industry in your area, but also the community and what you can do personally. That whole kind of like think globally and equally kind of thing. So these are some things that are just ideas and steps to take to be part of the change.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we're also working with artists to educate and empower them to actually use their platforms to speak out, because it can be very intimidating.
And here on the screen right now are the 3,431 artists that have made the declaration.
Yeah, there's all kinds of people on there, from like Billie Eilish to the Sex Pistols to the London Symphony Orchestra. I mean, it's a very, very diverse range of musicians.
Yep. And you mentioned the tattoos about, no music on a dead planet is kind of the rallying cry. It's a very big hashtag that you guys use. We're both wearing the T-shirts. There's a very cool shop that's in here. I'm going to pull this up right now. That you can kind of link to it right here. We'll link to all of this in the notes and stuff and do some posts about it. But right there, wear a T-shirt is there's so many cool designers that have put out their different versions of this same thing.
We've had all kinds of bands.
Yep.
Like doing their own design, like the 1975 design, the Wombats have done a design.
Right.
And the slogan, No Music on a Dead Planet, is really kind of out there now, and it's an opportunity for any artist to wear this T-shirt or have the logo on stage with them.
Sure. And like obviously the purchasing of merch certainly helps the organization, donations that much more. But when you purchase the shirt, back to like kind of walking the walk like you talked about before, the packaging that shows up is all sustainable. You get an email that talks about how the shirts were made and printed, and then the packaging that goes into it and stuff. So there's a very, very cool narrative that goes around all of that, and you're very transparent about it all. So again, kind of encouraged, if you all can do it, then other people can try as well.
Yeah, I mean, we had to do a lot of research to make sure that, you know, if you're going to put more product out into the world, obviously that's not, you know, we're trying to reduce consumerism ultimately.
Right.
But these are sustainable, ethically produced T-shirts that hopefully last a really long time. They can be recycled at the end of their life. So the company that we work with for the T-shirts is like all over that stuff. So
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's important to get, you know, the promotion of it out there. Like, you know, you kind of have to take a couple of those steps to make sure that everything else gets taken care of.
And, you know, when an artist wears one of these on stage, then a lot of people are seeing the message.
Sure. Yeah. So let's switch it over now to quickly talk about yourself. Like, so you're on the working group.
We all work in our particular areas. I worked in getting a classical network set up with classical musicians, and I was very involved in the choral project that we did that I mentioned earlier. Because I myself am a composer, so I was kind of looking at how to reach other parts of the music industry.
Sure.
And everybody in the working group has their kind of like their niche area where their actual job is focused.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, so let's quickly pull up your site here, Ellie Wyatt Music. And there's like, again, just incredible BAFTA winning and children's songwriter, composer, string arranger, pop songwriter, violinist. Like, and then if you just keep reading, there's just such a wonderful, highly impressive resume of the songs you've written, the shows they've been a part of, who you've written them for, and the awards that you've been up to. So congrats to you on an amazing career. And my hope is that, you know, today's a shorter interview, but hopefully we can have you back for an episode to talk about the Ellie Wyatt story.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think that all of us, you know, we all have, in our working group, we all have such varied and interesting angles on the music industry. We've all come, you know, lots of us have performed and been in bands. We've, you know, some people are managers, some people work at labels. And it's just really great to see how, like, the common passion that we have for what we're doing can, like, actually create really amazing networks. And I think that that's a message for anybody that's a music fan, but not in the music industry. You can take that into your industry and your career and your job.
And so again, if we save the other parts of the story for that future episode, for today, I would love to talk a little bit about the Long Forgotten Road, which is a song you wrote that Music Declares Emergency uses as a youth climate anthem.
Yeah, that song came about like 2019 when all the youth strikes started happening around the world. And I was doing a lot of songwriting, and we were in a session and we just wanted to write about it. And then from there, we, you know, on an absolute zero budget, managed to pull a video together, connecting with Fridays for Future, connecting with climate activists, the youth climate activists around the world.
Sure.
And then also connecting with Extinction Rebellion and the Stop Ecocide campaign, which is a massively important campaign that I don't know if people have heard of it, but it's about getting ecocide recognised as a crime in the International Court of Law. Yeah, we've worked with several different groups, and we managed to bring a video together. And
Yeah. And we have it queued up here, but we'll close with that. So before we get to that, just want to kind of recap here, promote. First and foremost, like something that I always ask for is, like, obviously this show is free, whether you're in person here in the courtyard with us or you're tuning in on the live stream. The only thing I ever ask is if it's valuable to you, if you're enjoying it, pick a number in your head of what it's worth to you, and then make a donation to one of these organizations, whether it's Music Declares Emergency or reverb.org, both doing great things, or both. Let's do both. Or again, maybe you want some swag with it, so go buy a t-shirt and go to the site, sign up for the declaration, take some of that action, check out Ellie's music, and just kind of that overall spirit of, you know, if this was worth something to you, hopefully you give back to these organizations because they're doing some very important work.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, Ellie, thank you for somehow navigating a 16-hour time change with me
Yeah.
and coming on the show and sharing the story of Music Declares Emergency, a little bit about yours, and can't wait to dig in deeper on that down the road.
Great, thank you so much. And yeah, everybody can take action. So hopefully this inspires some people to look at our website and get involved.
Absolutely. So here is The Long Forgotten Road, the youth climate anthem of Music Declares Emergency.
Thank you.
Welcome to the world, every boy, every girl. This is your life, your big adventure, and your ticket is free. They send you to school, they're gonna teach you the rules. You'll find out things are not quite what they seem. Take it from me, the book they wrote is full of lies. They say right is wrong and wrong is right. So don't believe the black and white, 'cause everything is shades of gray. We gotta learn from our mistakes. We got to pick out the pieces, put them back together. It's down to us if we wanna make it better and try to find our long forgotten road. Pick out the pieces, put them back together. It's down to us if we wanna make it better. I'll see you on the long forgotten road. Welcome to the plan. Every woman, every man, they tell you there's no price tag on your life. They'll have you believe that you have a voice. You think that you have a choice. Meanwhile, they'll sell our future for $1 to an NL thieves. We're all under the same skies. They got no answers to all our whys. We speak the truth to other lies. Now we gotta do what it takes and learn from our mistakes. We got to pick out the pieces, put them back together. It's down to us if you wanna make it better and try to find our long forgotten road. Pick out the pieces, put them back together. It's down to us if you wanna make it better. I'll see you on the long forgotten road. If you wanna, then we gotta try to find our long forgotten road. If you wanna, then we gotta see you on the long forgotten road. Now we're writing the book, we're not fighting to look. See it with our eyes wide open, we're making our own rules. Now we're taking control, old ways, they gotta go. See it with our eyes wide open, we're making our own rules. 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 Pick out the pieces, put them back together. It's down to us if we wanna make it better. I'll see you on the long forgotten road. If we wanna, then we gotta try to find our long forgotten road. If we wanna, then we gotta see you on the long forgotten road. Gotta do what it takes and learn from my mistakes. Gotta do what it takes and learn from my mistakes.
There we have Ellie Wyatt written Long Forgotten Road, which Music Declares Emergency has adopted as their youth climate anthem.
That was a great interview. I'm glad you could make it work time-wise.
That's my post-production editing right there.
It sounded like something exploded,
Yep.
and that's amazing.
Right, yeah. Both organizations are going to be on a future interview. So, like, basically what we learned while we were doing this was those people are doing such amazing things, both reverb.org and Music Declares Emergency, that we spent those 15 minutes talking to them, and they were like, I didn't get to this.
Right.
And so, like, we're going to bring them both back for future interviews where we're going to be able to dedicate, the full 45 minutes to an hour to dive a lot more deeper into things with them.
And that's great because we've had other people on that have talked about organizations that do music-related support. It's in this case, it's environmental, but we've had one about accessibility. And this is part of what we love to do is bring on these organizations that help support the musicians we love.
No, I mean, I think that having these music-adjacent conversations only complements when we do have the musicians on. So I love doing that. I love coordinating those things. So one quick more, I think this is our last URL share, but I think this is a very cool one because one of the things we were kind of touching on here is how corporations need to do their part. I thought this was a very interesting thing that American Express started doing. If you happen to have an American Express, you can tell it, you can enroll it, and that's what we have on the screen right now, that of the purchases you're making, it will start to calculate the emissions of those purchases, the organizations you're buying from, the product that it was, and how to get actionable about reducing them. So I just thought it was a very cool way that if you happen to use American Express, obviously a lot of businesses use American Express for their purchases, this would be a way to start to track that stuff and get to see, holy smokes, like that's a lot, and then be able to make different decisions based on those purchases.
It's actually very clever. It's feels like the kind of thing you should see on your statement all the time.
All the time. And maybe that's going to be part of this change that they're starting. But I think one of the things that keeps happening as you talk to people, they feel a little bit less powerful because they're only one person or a family. But everyone needs to be a part of this. And so this is yet another way. You can see right there on the screen, it says you can make a difference and we can help. Like that's some of the part of it is some people just don't know where and what to do to be better in this area. And so this is one of those ways is you'd be able to get a little bit of a help.
That's an awareness.
And then, awareness is huge. And then you vote with your dollars. Like that is one of the most powerful things, especially in a capitalistic environment, is where you make your purchases is going to start to generate some change in action. eBay also started to send around some things because, again, this is Earth Month. They were talking about when and where, how to make purchases that would be reducing carbon emissions there as well. And making this purchase on eBay over there somewhere else would kind of facilitate that. So big corporations, Amex, eBay, maybe others, are trying to do their part to empower us with knowledge and awareness, like you said. And I just thought that was cool and wanted to share it.
It's a great idea.
Let's now bring on another world-renowned artivist. This is my favorite part about Eljuri.
It's an amazing title.
It is an amazing title. So let's bring on Eljuri. Hello.
Hello. Is vertical okay?
Yep, we're good.
You're good.
Happy Earth Day. Happy Earth Month.
Happy Earth Month, absolutely.
Yes.
And thank you. We are honored, as always, to have you part of things and to have the feature your music and obviously also your shining person here on our show.
I'm thrilled to be part of everything you're doing. Shining the light is what it's all about.
Sure.
With music and with journalism and shining the light on important things. And that's what you guys do, and I'm happy to be part of it. Thanks. Gracias.
And you recently wrapped up a world tour, right? You were in Europe a little bit and South America, right?
We did Mexico the end of we played U.S. and Mexico dates the end of last year, and then this year we played in Kansas City, and then we just got back from the Netherlands in Europe.
Well, Kansas City and the Netherlands are like the same.
Well, they're both actually important, So
for sure. But if you don't mind, again, for anybody who maybe doesn't know Eljuri music, would you mind giving a little bit of a bio quick for yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm a singer, songwriter, guitarist, and activist, and my lyrics are all socially conscious. My music is a fusion of Latin and world beat rhythms with rock and funk and punk, which is pretty organic. My sound is pretty organic, and I sing mostly in Spanish, but with some English, and most socially conscious lyrics, but pretty much they're global issues. So even though I'm singing English, Spanish, I'm not singing in Dutch or French or whatever.
I'm sure you would if you could. I mean, but you got to focus and put your energy in the right places. A Latin from Manhattan, right?
I'm a Latin from Manhattan. That's right. That's right, Phil. You know me. You know me very well.
And you have this phrase, artivist, which I think is wonderful, and it combines that you're an artist who's also an activist. And one in particular, before we get to I wanted to take one moment because it's another, challenge we have as a community and a world is the gun violence issue. So you have that song Bang Bang, which every time there's a shooting and so on, that it just makes me think about it, because towards the end of the song you list off all the cities, and that list just keeps getting longer and longer and now duplicative. So I just wanted to maybe touch on give you a moment to touch on that song.
Exactly, like the gun violence issue. There are guns in too many people's hands, and it really is a tragic issue in the U.S.
Yep.
But like I said, it's global. So at the end of the song, I do sing, kind of rap sing, the various cities, but the cities are around the world. Unfortunately, I think in the U.S. we're the most troubled right now, and anything we can do to be instruments of change, to again shine the light. As a singer, I feel responsible to do that and want to do that. Certainly. And when I play shows and I talk to people after the shows, they're almost always consistently in agreement. And so it's what the people want. So we need change. We need change, and fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And same thing here, pivoting back to environmentalism. You have a wonderful song on this latest release you have called Salva La Tierra. And wanted to have you touch on that a little bit, and then we're going to play it. And speaking to the point about how you feel the audience and what they're going through, we actually you have on your YouTube channel both a live version of it from Music Fest here in Bethlehem, as well as the recorded version that has a wonderful stop motion video. So we actually took your intro from the one and put it in front of the other so that we can give people a little flavor of both. But tell us about this song, because one thing I find interesting about it is this is not the topic of climate change and what it's doing to communities and homes and such, and people, their livelihoods and their possessions. It's not a happy topic, but the song you wrote has a positive tone to it, and so I wanted you to maybe speak to that a little bit.
Well, I think the positive energy of music can inspire us to rise up, and I think that's what my intent is, to try to inspire people to speak out and to be instruments of change themselves, not just me. It's kind of I'm calling out in the song. You can see me with a megaphone, and you can hear it in the song. It's about showing that we can each make a difference, and also to put the burden on corporations. I saw that you were talking about Amex, for example, and the government, and any large body that can really influence change. We want them to represent us and work towards that change. When we recorded the song, I have a great story. We recorded up in Rhinebeck. We were living up in the studio called the Clubhouse, and we recorded it. And my manager Alex and the studio owner Paul, they both were brainstorming, and they said we should really try to get a choir to sing at the end of the out chorus, a group of people, and there were college students nearby at Bard University, so we invited them over to the recording session, and they sing the out chorus. And why that's so important is they all thought it was absolutely important, critical. It's again not generational. In fact, we want to leave a better earth for them. They want to leave a better earth for the next generation. So it's really important that we share this truth together. Sure. And so I was thrilled that they joined on the out chorus.
It sounds amazing.
Like 30 college kids screaming, singing in Spanish, and most of them didn't speak Spanish, but that made it even better.
No, absolutely, that is
fantastic.
Yeah. So let's give people a flavor of your music here with Salva La Tierra.
Gracias. Gracias. We have another brand new one. The single just came out a couple of weeks ago, and it's about how urgent it is to control the climate, and how we need to save the earth. I know you guys all believe in that. I can feel it. This is Salva La Tierra.
Dulces son las lecciones de la adversidad para que adoptemos a un mundo superior. Mañana nos abrazamos, hemos cambiado para mejor. Salva la tierra, no se puede esperar. Salva la tierra, es urgente. Salva la tierra, no se puede esperar. Salva la tierra, es urgente, muy urgente. ¿Estás conmigo? Salva la tierra. 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 No se puede esperar. Salva la tierra. Es urgente. Salva la tierra. No se puede esperar. Salva la tierra. Es urgente, muy urgente.
So there is Salva La Tierra, Eljuri music. Thank you so much for having us, allowing us to play that.
I appreciate you playing it.
Yeah.
It means the world to me.
What a wonderful track that is.
Thank you.
Anything we can help you promote here towards the end?
Well, obviously, I want everybody to remember how urgent it is to save the Earth. So let's celebrate Earth Month together and raise our voices. And as far as staying in touch with me, my social media platform is Eljuri, Eljuri music, MUSIC. So stay in touch, and hopefully I'll be touring near your town or anywhere that your listeners are.
And anyone who's tuning in.
We're going to be supporting the record all summer. So yeah.
Perfect. Well, I hope I personally get to see you and get to kind of catch up and have a beverage together.
Yes, and a big hug.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Eljuri.
Gracias.
Wanted to bring up something real quick here because I thought this was interesting. There is kind of speaking to Do Not Destroy. There was a recent decision about, it's probably like 10 days ago only. We are going to share our screen just real quick and show you this article here. Basically, the island country of Vanuatu went to the UN because basically the way that climate change is impacting an island nation is just significantly more impactful than elsewhere. And they kind of are alleging, hey, it's not our fault. We're not producing the carbon emissions that the other countries are.
Correct.
So they're looking for, basically, the ability to create a fairness and a mandate even to the countries to do something about it. Otherwise, they're going to get wiped out.
Yeah, they have to relocate a whole country.
Right. And just the sovereignty of that and so on, that the UN can weigh in on that. So they voted and it passed. So there is this basic expectation from the countries who wouldn't be impacted as much to not produce the carbon that to impact the ones that would be. So it's just a neat thing. We'll post these articles that we're going to share here, but basically it's about climate justice and everyone working together because, again, the countries that would be the most impacted, it's beholden to the ones. And sadly, the two largest producers of carbon, China and the United States, both voted against this.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that speaks to, again, our ability to be aware of these issues, advocate for them, know who your candidates are, to know they would be supportive of that, because this is obviously a global issue.
Yeah, absolutely. This stuff doesn't just stay contained in your own backyard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. David?
Philip?
I think part one of this day is in the books.
I call that a success.
I think so. Nothing seemed to break.
Not yet.
The cops didn't show up?
Not yet.
No one went to the hospital?
Not yet.
Okay. And we just want to take one more time here to thank our sponsors. Tavern at the Sun Inn. Mm-hmm. Again, here we are in their beautiful courtyard. I didn't mention this before, but able to be rented. So if anybody else is in the need of a spring, summer, fall cool venue to host your party or what have you, this is available. Godfrey Daniels. Go become a member. Sponsor them. It's a non-profit, so what they're trying to do to bring music is not always the most profitable. But they're doing the right thing by the bands that they want to bring in there, and they're also open to connecting to some of the ones that we bring on the show, so it should be a cool thing going forward. And then the Energy Co-op. At a minimum, search to find renewable energy providers, and if you're in that eastern half of the PA, definitely give Energy Co-op a look. That's who I use, and I highly recommend them. And again, like I said before, the more people who get involved, the more affordable it all gets and the more actionable it gets, too.
All of that is great.
So again, thank you to all the sponsors. Wrap things up here. Just wanted to give one moment here to say thank you to everyone that was involved in this show. Thank you all for tuning in here on the live stream. Thank you all for joining us live. Something we hope to do a little bit more of. And let's just rip through all of this here. So thank you to Cicada Rhythm, as well as Georgia Public Broadcasting.
They were generous.
Yeah, right there. Thank you to Paige Roth and Reverb.org, Tioga, Blair, Captain Crimmins.
Captain.
Thank you to the Darling Sons, to Ellie Wyatt and Music Declares Emergency, Lorena McKennett, Eljuri, Dylan Zangwill, Sean Kelly of the Samples, and Pepperwine. Thank you to Paco Caleri behind this wall back here for making everything sound amazing today from Steel City Vintage. And we have one last song here to close things out. This is a very special version of What a Wonderful World. It was during a campaign that Music Declares Emergency did called Sing the Change. And it is multiple different choirs that sang this song. And it is a beautiful way for us to kind of close things out. David, anything to share with the audience here in the close?
I'm so happy we got to do this today, and it didn't rain on us.
That's right. Yes, and thank you to Mother Earth for complying with our ability to host this event. Anyway, thank you to everyone. Super appreciate it. I feel happy and warm inside.
Not too warm though.
Yes.
Just enough that the climate was like totally cool.
That's right. Anyway, so here is What a Wonderful World. Sing the Change from Music Declares Emergency.